3rd of April, and we are going to look at estimating averages from a frequency table. Now I picked a group frequency table to start. It's grouped because of this bit here, because you can use the same method if it's not grouped, so you can do the harder ones. So first thing, because it's grouped, that is why it's an estimate of the mean, and that is why I need to write down my midpoints for my intervals. That's just the number in the middle of these. So it's going to be 5, 15, 25, 35 and 45. But if there were horrible numbers, all you would have to do is on your calculator add those two numbers together and then divide by 2 to find the midpoint, okay? Then the midpoint basically tells us that there are 3 people who have a median height of 5 centimetres. This is ridiculous. Students at 5 centimetres, but there we go. So we are going to do the midpoint times by the frequency. So 5 times 3, 15. 15 times 7, 105. 25 times 12, 300. 35 times 31, 1085. And 45 times 27, 1215. Okay, so that tells us the combined heights of everybody within each of those intervals. So if I want to know the total of every single person's height in this, I am just going to add all of those values together, which gives me 2720. And then the mean is your total divided by how many there are, the total frequency, right? So I'm going to do 2720 divided by my total of this column, my total frequency. So add those up to get 80, and then we just do 2720 divided by 80, which gives me a mean height of 34 centimetres, which is ridiculous, but there we go. Explain why the mean is an estimate. So the mean is an estimate because we don't know the exact heights of these 3 people, or these 7 people, or any of the people. We just know what they're in between. So it's an estimate because we don't know the exact heights of the students. You're only going to be asked that if it's a grouped frequency table. The modal interval is just the mode, which is the most common, the interval where most people's heights fell within, which is going to be this one here, because it's got this one here even, because it's got the highest frequency. So the modal interval is not 31, it's this, 30 to 40. And then finally, find the interval which the median lies in, that's the middle value. So to find the median, we would have our total frequency, which is 80. So there are 80 students, we're going to add 1 and we're going to divide by 2. So we always add 1, divide by 2. Okay, so that gives me 40.5. I'm looking for the 40.5th person. Where are they? So if I look back at my frequency table, I can see my first 3 people. So between 0 and 3 people are in this interval here. Then between 3 plus 7 and 10 people, the next 7 people are in this interval. Add again, between 10 and 22 are in that 3rd interval. And then between 22 and 53 are in here. So my 40.5th person is going to be within this interval, which was the same as our modal interval. Won't always be the case. So that is the answer. Okay, so exact trig values, you need to learn these. They're going to come up on a non-calculator potentially, and you get a mark for just writing them down. So let's fill them in. Sine of 0 is 0. Sine of 30 is a half. Sine of 45 is root 2 over 2. Sine of 60 is root 3 over 2. And sine of 90 is 1. Okay, and then the cos is just it flipped, so I can go backwards. So that's going to be 1. That's going to be 3 over 2. That's going to be root 2 over 2. That's going to be 1/2, and that's going to be 0. And then tan, you would just divide. So 0 divided by 1 gives me 0. 1/2 divided by root 3 over 2 gives me root 3 over 3. That's 1. Tan of 60, root 3, and that is not a value. Okay, so if you just remember that one and then flip them and divide, you've only got to remember 5 values.